It's Orit Esther Ryder once again with our OrTalk podcast interview series. I am so excited once again to be talking about Torah healing in the way of opening up our souls and enabling us to align ourselves internally, spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally with who we truly are. That divine spark, that divine image is going to be able to be nourished and shining and illuminating from all these amazing guests that I thank Hashem every day for being able to connect to and interview. So today's guest, Moshe Gersht, powerful voice in the Emuna world, author, speaker, spiritual teacher, speaks a lot about the importance of living with Emuna and letting go of the fears and knowing what it means to surrender into Hashem's arms with a lot of love. Welcome, Moshe. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. A pleasure to be here with you.
Amazing, amazing. So this is gonna be a little bit of an intro. We're gonna give a teaser here. We have a little bit of a shortened version of our podcast today, but we're gonna, Be'ezrat Hashem, God willing, follow up with quite a few more talks with Moshe. But for now, I want to get straight to the questions. And I want to ask you, Moshe, what does Emuna feel like for you in your everyday life when you're going about your own jolly life and living, and you need to surrender into that moment? You need to let go of what that instinct, that animal tells you to respond, right? How does Emuna take place in your life? I mean, you're the author. Show everybody your book because your book is such a fascinating book. Yeah,
Okay.
we don't see it.
I
The
think the
stage.
blur's in there, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So please talk about it a little bit, and let's hear from you.
well, first, I loved two elements in your question. You asked, what does Emuna feel like to you? And so many people ask the question, what does Emuna mean? But the feeling is the right, I think, intuition when it comes to the question of what Emuna is. And it's a softness. I think that's what Emuna feels like to me when I think about, like in my body, it feels like a non-tension, right? It's a more relaxed, open, curious feeling, a state. You could call it hopeful, but that's what the feeling of Emuna is. And what's amazing, Ravolbi says that most people get the idea of Emuna wrong because they think it's something in the mind. He says Emuna is a hargasha. Emuna is a feeling. It's a sense. It's something that you can do everything in your power to try to put it into words. And like we're having in this conversation, we're going to talk about it and we're going to talk around it. But it's something inside where you don't feel the tension anymore, or at least it's less tense. It's that surrendered experience of knowing that even if I don't know where we're going, but I trust that things are going in the right direction. Yeah. And that trust is
Mm-hmm.
in the body itself uh, it feels like peace. Yeah. So that's what it feels like. But and
Right.
the other part of the question that I appreciated and I want to point out is you said, as you go about your jolly day, and, I think I'm blessed to be jolly a lot of the time. And that's a blessing. I don't know if everybody gets to be jolly all the time, but it doesn't always feel that way, right? And Emuna can
Right.
still be there even if you're not floating on cloud nine. I think there's this perception that if you've deepened your connection to self and connection to soul, that you're like always, in the sky and everything is
Right.
is is at the highest level of happiness. But what it is there's these, we can make it simple and call it three levels, right? And the entry point, the baseline to this whole conversation is, do you feel okay? Okay, that's the simple way to say, are you at peace? Have you accepted? Are you in a state of allowing? That's the baseline. And that doesn't feel like joy. And that doesn't feel like enthusiasm or love, but it does feel good. A baseline. That's the beginning of Emuna. That's like the door opens up right there where I'm not in a fight with life right now.
Right.
Like I've accepted
Right.
that this is the reality. I might not like it, but I'm not pretending that it's not real.
Right. The Bala Sulam Kadosh says hugging reality. Can
Yeah.
you hug your reality and just bring it
Mm.
a little bit closer so you can tend to it, so that you can feel it, so that you can have an interaction with it as opposed to go, 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 go away.
Yeah. No, Rabbi Nachman, coming off of the 3 weeks, so I was just going through a lot of his pieces there, and he speaks about the milchama that we have with life, and he says a milchama, a war. We're in a war with reality, and he says a war with reality is having a machlokus. It's an argument with reality, right? So it's the opposite of the hug. He says all of the inner dissonance that we experience is because we disagree with life. Life told us one thing, and we said no, that's not how it's supposed to be. And so when you have a machlokus, you're arguing with reality. So that is the exact opposite of Emuna, right? Because,
Wow,
and
totally.
it doesn't mean that it always feels high. The entry
Right,
point is okay. I'm just not in a fight with it anymore.
right.
But
So,
from
so
there,
let's,
you can step inward, and then you can give it that hug. That feels like joy. And if you go one step further, then you start to feel the love and the connection at the deepest level.
totally. So I'm going to ask you straight point blank. How do you let go of how do I let go? I'm going to talk for me. How do I let go of my agenda of what, when, and how, and why? And these are my dreams. And Hashem, you gave me a rut zone. I'm going straight for the hardcore questions. You gave me a rut zone, Hashem. You gave me a desire, Hashem. You gave me, for those women out there, those men out there that are single, I'd like, the young couples that want to have children and we are always confronted with this, like they want to fulfill Ratzon Hashem. So Hashem, here you did. You gave me this Ratzon, you gave me this yearning, you gave me this craving, you created the body to want certain things. What are we supposed to do with that in terms of our dreams and in terms of our fulfillment?
So the first question is we always have to make sure we do a gut check on reality, which is making sure that the what isn't delusional. And I say that because, if you meet someone who's 64 years old and they might be a wonderful person, and if they tell you, I want to be in the NBA, it's like, and they're 5'4" and they're not really good at holding a ball, that's delusional. So you might have a rut zone, but there's that might be connected to something deeper, but we can look at that and say, I don't know that that's at Ratzon Hashem. There was a confusion that took place, and that's important, right? That's an important part in the beginning. And the reason I mention that is because sometimes the what is truly outside of, like, if a person's desire is I truly want to live 100 years ago, that's a delusion. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're just an older single and they're like, I want to get married, that's not delusional. That is a ratzon. That's real. And I would say the vast majority of people's desires and ratzonos are not delusional. They're real, right?
Right,
So the
right.
question is, what do you do now? And the answer is letting go of the how and the when. You see, how and when, that's how Hashem runs the world. That's the hashgacha. That's what Rabbi Nassan says, is that we have to let go of the process, right? It's when we want the process to go a certain way, we actually are holding on and limiting how Hashem, with his infinite ratzon and his infinite ability to see all the different paths, can bring us to actually where we truly want to be. So we don't have to let go of the what, your desire and your vision of where you want to go, and the fact that you want to be in that place to become this person, or to have that relationship, or to move to that house, or to become this level of a tzaddik or tzaddikus or a talmid chacham, whatever it is that your dream is. The dream is amazing. The dream is important. The dream is a gift. In fact, the Gemara says that a person who doesn't dream for 7 days is called Ra, right? They're
Okay.
spiritually unconnected. And the Vilna Gaon says it's not speaking about dreaming at night. It's talking about dreaming during the day, right?
Dreaming your
So
dreams.
so the dreams are great, but the surrendering is the process of like, okay, so can I make peace with everything that happens along the way? And sometimes I can, and sometimes I can't. And I think we get so caught up, certainly in this generation, with where we all working so hard on having more emuna and bitachon of like it's okay, but it's also we need to be forgiving with ourselves because sometimes it's just hard, and we have to have emuna that I'm supposed to feel okay with being not okay.
Right, right. I like what you said earlier with the whole idea of this state of inner calm, because I also have learned early on that Emuna Sichlit is when you can resolve in your brain enod milvado. Hashem, you're the only one. You're the only existence, in this world, and everything else is a delusion. It's a planned delusion. It's a divinely orchestrated delusion, per se, but for all intent purposes, that's my reality right now. So I can resolve that in my head. But to bring that down, when we say the biggest distance in life is between head and heart, right? To lessen that gap and to have that pulsate in my heart and affect, as you said, in an energy work, right? In Emuna, we deal with energy work. The way it affects your energy is when you feel it pulsating in your heart, it changes the biochemistry in your body. You literally are secreting different hormones into your body, and that is that inner calm. So I'm going to ask you, how was there a shifting point in your life where you used to be old Moshe and now you're new Moshe? Or is this something you learned at home? Like, how did you get into that trusting process of yours of surrendering what I see, what I'm hearing from you, somewhat control, and giving it over to Hashem?
Well, let's start in the short term. I woke up this morning and I was old Moshe, and now I'm new Moshe. Yeah, that's true
Nice
in
to meet you.
yes, in this moment. And when we started this conversation, I was old Moshe, and now in this moment, I'm new Moshe.
Love it.
And when you asked the question, I was old Moshe, and
I
now I'm
love
new
that.
Moshe.
Love
So,
it.
so I think the first part for me when I think about the question is it's always true, right? This is ever going, ever present, um, and it's a perpetual and constant growth, a perpetual and constant evolution as we go forward. But that said, if we're looking for a point in my life where I think I did have a major, I would say like a quantum step forward in this understanding, not long after I was married and we had our first child, and Baruch Hashem, it was a great simcha, and I love my wife and I love my daughter, and everything is great. But I like hit this wall internally of stress and pressure. All of a sudden, I wasn't just a bachur in yeshiva worrying about learning and just caring about myself. I'm, very much so a relationship person, so very caring about my wife's sense of self and her emotions. Now caring for a baby and like trying to like make sure that this child is safe physically and emotionally, needing to now take care of not just my own personal responsibilities, but the finances of a home, and still trying to grow in my own personal avodas Hashem, and also trying to become great in the system that I was in while I'm thinking about. And so, the more I speak, these things pile up, right? And you can feel it. And we all
Yes.
have this in our life. So as we grow in my world, that was the point where I started feeling this tug of I've devoted my entire life to Torah and to family and to prayer, and I feel less connected and more anxious than I did when I was playing in a rock band 10 years before, right? And so that dissonance felt wrong. It's like that's not how it's supposed to be. And so that led me down a direction of figuring out, well, what part of Torah holds the keys to this part of my reality? Because the ideas, as beautiful as they were, weren't enough. Like there weren't enough pages in the Gemara to change my inner state. And no matter how much beautiful philosophy I was reading in the different Hashkafa Svarim, I wasn't getting that. And it led me in the direction of, to save us time, a long story short, led me in the direction of Chassidus, which is where I started finding what I felt were the keys to opening up these parts of what you might call like the psycho-spiritual dimension within Torah. And then between that and wonderful mentors and groups and books and psychology and seeing where they all came together, there's this point of recognizing the power of surrender. That's really what this all comes back to. Because what, you opened up the conversation with Emuna, and what Emuna really is letting go of your opinion of how life is supposed to be. That's what Emuna feels. You
And
will
knowing someone
feel.
else is taking reins over your life and doing a really good job.
Yeah, look, everything's working. We do have this thought that things should be better, and maybe things will be better, but this moment is as good as it gets. This moment. Like the one we're living in now is truly the best version that this moment is ever going to be. And so stepping into the light of that reality and letting go of things needing to be different. It's not want, there's nothing wrong with wanting. The issue is needing. There's a difference between ratzon and sorech, right? Sorech, a need, comes from the word sar, which means constricted and narrow, and it's a limitation. And so when you're caught in needs, there's a limiting reality. And a ratzon is running towards something. It's ratz, it's moving in the direction of an expansive. So for me, it was kind of finding the breakthrough so that I could actually live my life to be the husband I wanted to be, the father I wanted to be, the person in yeshiva I wanted to be, the teacher that I wanted to be. But I wanted to be that not as someone holding up the world, but as someone who could let go of holding up the world and just be. So stepping into being was really where I feel like I was blessed to have a shift. But I think that that's happening all the time. And you catch somebody on, and it's happening for the two of us and for everybody, right? You walk up to someone on the street, you catch them on a good day and
Yeah,
everything's great. Or you catch someone at a bad moment, but really all the time they're fine, right? Like it's such an ebb and flow.
right. And you never master. I always say I'm still in my Emuna diaper stages. Every time every time, what does Rabbi Nachman say when do you know something? When you say, I don't know, right? I'll refer something back to one point that you said. I teach a beautiful class called Crown to Kingship, where we go through the 10 spheres from crown, from Keter, Lamachut to kingship. And we talk about there the whole power of Ratzon. And I broke it down to 4 different categories. You can wish something, you can want something, you can need something, and then you can must something. And you really, like you said, you have to do like a bedek bite. You have to go internally and say, okay, do I wish it? Do I want it? Do I need it? Do I must it? I know it's not really proper English. I always get laughed at with my English anyway. But that really is, the category. And I love what you said in the beginning. You said, internalize and ask yourself, is this realistic for me? Is this, like you said, the NBA player, the desire to be an NBA player? And I think that's so important because so many of us show up in life and we have an agenda, and Hashem is the manufacturer of our lives. And just like you have to refer to a manual when you're, seeking how to take care of that item that you bought, the manual for life is Torah. Hashem manufactured this life, and we have parts and pieces that we are left to finish and co-create with him. But then there's a lot of things that just, like you said, have to flow, and we have to go with that flow.
Yeah, to trust is knowing that everything is okay. And that is an allowance to surrender. But one can surrender even if they don't know. They can just let go, right? Even if you don't know, you can just say, I let go of my addiction to understanding. Rabos machshavos belevish. We've got a lot of thoughts going on, right? The Shlomo Melech said that Elokim asasa adam yasher v'hem bikshu cheshbonus rabim. That God made man straight, simple, and then we started overthinking. Right, that is the pasuk, right? We were thinking and creating new thoughts and projecting our thoughts on reality. But if we can surrender and release and step into the moment, really just embracing whatever's showing up in front of us, that's where it is. And for a lot of us, it's the world is too loud, and so I truly suggest quiet. If we can find more time in quiet, in stillness, in silence. The kol demamadaka, the sound of your soul's trying to speak all the time. The Maharal says that when the body's speaking, the soul is quiet, but when the body can get quiet, you can hear the soul speak. And we need to find time for that. And for those people who tell me they don't have time for quiet, so they need twice as much. we deserve it. It's more than that we need it. We deserve it. It's actually what we're doing here. And all the stuff that's going on the surface that we're running after and that we're making the most important priorities of our life, those are just the stage for us to find that voice anyway. The stuff on the outside never really mattered in the ultimate sense. It was all about what was going on the inside anyway. The wholeness and the joy that you're looking to receive from that which is happening on the surface it's a metaphor. It's an excuse for the feeling that you're going to get afterwards. So instead of doing everything for joy, do it from joy.
Love it. I love it. Okay, I know our time is up. I want to thank you so much for the time spent here. I know we're going to have to do a follow-up, but one of the things I want to thank you for in particular is for reminding us that Emuna really is that bridge of not denying our emotions and not saying they don't exist, but from being able to work with them and find a way to compartmentalize them in a way that we could still live a wholesome and healing. It's not a healed. We're not healed, but a healing life with light and purpose. So thank you. I have no words. It was a very powerful 20 minutes that we just shared.
And we'll do this again. I enjoy sitting with you, and thank you so much for bringing me into your world. And to everyone that's listening, it's a pleasure to be sitting with you too. And I'm looking forward to the next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Show the book or mention the book once again and where they can purchase it because I want everybody to know.
Yeah, the book is called It's All the Same to Me. Maybe if I hold it far enough back, you can
Yes,
see
yes, yes.
it.
There you go. Yep. All the same to
uh,
me.
and yeah, you can get it on Amazon. And
Amazing.
if you enjoy.
Bracha and Hatzlacha. You should be blessed, continue to bless to bring all this beautiful Torah and wisdom and healing to the whole world, to the women and to the men, which I think both are important for them to hear your voice. So thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, stay tuned for our upcoming guests. We're very, very excited and looking forward to continue to heal with you all in the Jewish and Torah way. Have a great day.